At Daytona International, the 250 main event riders are getting set to go. You can see that the starting lineup is not quite complete behind the gate, but this is the way they're going to line up. Tim Ferry, Travis Pastrana, and Ricky Carmichael. Pastrana had his choice, winner of the fastest heat, and Stefan Roncada making up the first four you see here.
Sebastian Tortelli, Ezra Lusk, Ernesto Fonseca, and Jeremy McGrath, all in the top 10.
We continue to look down through the starting grid, and the handsome guys behind the helmets there, Vuillemin, Kyle Lewis, Keith Johnson, Jason Thomas, and Damon Huffman. There he is on his number 20 machine.
Nick Way, Heath Voss, and Nathan Ramsey coming in from the semi.
Way had some problems. Hopefully he'll be able to bounce back. Isaiah Johnson also, went down, got up. That seemed to have been the order of the day. We saw the best riders do it. We saw riders a little bit deeper in the field do it. And here are the remaining riders for the 30-bike field in the 250cc main event.
And you look at those last three, Olaf, Stiles, they all had to come from the last chance, so they've had a long day this far, and it's not over. We got 20 more laps of racing.
That's exactly right, and it's coming right at you, live on Speed. The Daytona Supercross by Honda 250 main event when we come back. Once again, high above Daytona International Speedway, Rick Johnson's way too cool to be a Twitter, but I'm going to say that's what I am. As we get ready to start the 250cc main here, I mean, this is excitement of the highest order. Unfortunately, David Vuillemin is not going to be competing. He was the points leader. That hands a rather easy pass, or an opportunity anyway, for Ricky Carmichael to become the new points leader after this race here at Daytona. And there is Carmichael on his number 4 bike, and I think maybe the rider that pulled up right next to him is the only one that might deny him a win.
Well, Pastrana has been running very, very strong. They both had the little fall down and get back up. But Carmichael needs to attack the track and not worry about David Vuillemin, because even if he does win this, that's only going to give him a 5-point lead over David Vuillemin. If Vuillemin's able to get healthy for next weekend, basically the playing ground's level again. So he can't think that, oh, the series is over. Vuillemin was smart by not racing this weekend to get himself healthy. Hopefully when he gets that CAT scan or the different x-rays, they don't find big problems and the series is done. Hopefully he can work on it, get himself ready, and be out next weekend.
What about Jeremy McGrath, the 7-time champion? Showtime today? Yes, no, maybe?
Well, Jeremy was unbelievably strong in practice. I didn't even think Ricky had anything for him, but in the heat race, it looked like he got a little bit of that arm pump again. But I know he's working with Skip Norfolk and that whole Larry Brooks and Yamaha and Bud Light team to do a lot of work. So if they made some changes and he's a little more comfortable in this main event, look for him, because he's a past winner here at Daytona.
Jeremy McGrath putting on the goggles, making his final preparations. All the riders doing the same thing. The engines are fired, and we are just about set to begin with the 250 main here at Daytona. And the winner of this race will join a very small fraternity of Daytona winners. My broadcast partner, a 2-time winner here. And the men who won it more than 2 times are very few in number.
Yeah, there's 2 of them. There's Bob Hanna and also Jeff Stanton, who's won it 4 times. But this is the great thing about Supercross, just like NASCAR, it's a Super Bowl out there. All the best riders in the world are lined up. But the one thing different about Supercross than NASCAR is there's not a starting grid. They all line up side by side, and may the best man win around that first turn.
It's a little like drag racing combined because turn 1 and the whole shot is so important. The gates are going to go down in a moment. The flags are up. The board is up. It's sideways, and they're off. The 250cc main event. Who's going to get the whole shot? Ricky Carmichael by a mile into turn number 1.
Travis Pastrana pulls off a good move in that first turn.
Oh,
Carmichael makes a small mistake.
Yep.
And now look at Tim Ferry on the inside. He's got the right line. But
cases it.
He cases it, comes up short. Pastrana puts a wheel in on him. And now we're back to Carmichael in the lead.
Carmichael out in front, had about 3 bike length lead going into the turn. Pastrana got to him. Now Pastrana makes a mistake.
Yeah, it looks like Pastrana's a little bit tight. He needs to start breathing and start relaxing and get into his groove, because Tim Ferry has made a good move into second, but Ricky Carmichael's put about 10 bike lengths on these guys. They can't let him run away.
Tim Ferry running in second position. Carmichael is trying to run away. And so they really better punch in their collective time cards and go to work on the kid from Florida.
Well, the one time that somebody gave Carmichael a hard time, he was able to pass him on the last lap, and that was David Vuillemin in Indianapolis. So if they stay in touch with him, it might tighten Carmichael up a little bit, and hopefully they'll have a shot at him at the end.
Coming through that very difficult loop section, Carmichael looking very much in control, but what a wild start for Ricky.
Yeah, Ricky's got a really good start. You watch, he comes in here, he loses the front wheel, the back end goes around the outside of the berm, but right there, if Pastrana would have tapped him, they all would have went down. So Carmichael getting on the gas just a hair too soon, and Tim Ferry is in the lead.
While we're watching a replay, Tim Ferry goes after it. Two Florida riders, one after the other. Carmichael from Havana, Tim Ferry from Largo, and the first race back for Tim Ferry. He wants to put a big stamp on the 2002 season with a Daytona win.
Well, this doesn't happen too often where somebody can come back and pass Ricky Carmichael, so this has got to put his head a little bit. But Ferry makes a small mistake in that corner, and luckily for him, he did not stall that big four-stroke.
So Carmichael with the whole shot. Ferry coming from third to second to first. We'll take another look at the pass by Tim Ferry on Ricky Carmichael.
Well, we see Ricky, everything's looking good, comes to the inside, but then here comes Red Dog on the inside and just takes away the line from him. Gets in there, does a little block pass, no contact, but takes away the line from Carmichael, and Tim Ferry is your new leader.
Carmichael running 129s in the qualifier, running 129s in the race. Tim Ferry matching that. Actually, Carmichael's best lap time was a 131. It's Ferry that's doing the 29, and they're side by side going through into the second loop section, and Carmichael repasses Tim Ferry for the lead. Let's see if Ferry's got an inside move for him here. No.
Doesn't have anything for him. Carmichael just carried a little more momentum going into that section of whoops after the triple and was able to complete the pass.
Now we agreed that maybe his tip over early on was a wake-up call for Ricky Carmichael. Maybe getting past was the wake-up call here in the main event.
Well, in that same turn where Tim Ferry passed him last time, Ricky Carmichael took a blocking line, didn't go for the faster line, took the inside and took that passing line away from Tim Ferry.
Ricky Carmichael trying to scamper away, but Tim Ferry staying close, a couple of bike lengths behind. Daytona Supercross by Honda, being led by Honda's Ricky Carmichael. At Daytona International, Travis Pastrana has thrown down a 128 lap, moved past Tim Ferry into second, and he is stalking Ricky Carmichael for the lead.
Yeah, Ricky's been running real strong and consistent out front, and Travis, with that momentum getting by Ferry, he's riding really, really hard. Hopefully he can keep his focus because he's reeling in Ricky Carmichael, so he's just got to make his move and not make it too soon. A lot of times Pastrana's been the fastest guy. Here we'll take another look at the pass on Ferry, where he has a great run at him going up to the triple. He stays a little bit lower. Notice how he absorbed it up. Now as he comes into there, he doesn't slow down as much as Ferry getting into the whoops and then squirts by. Travis is the king of absorbing, using that long body to his advantage and not hurting his momentum.
Tim Ferry, very impressive though. A very impressive race so far. His first back after dealing with an injury. Now Travis Pastrana on the hunt after Ricky Carmichael. Both have fallen down, gotten back up today. And as we mentioned, it may have been a reminder to both of them, certainly to Ricky Carmichael, you've got to go out here and race the track. No David Vuillemin to worry about. And for Travis Pastrana, missing the last round, championship pretty much out of reach, a Daytona win would be a nice way to come back also.
Definitely. Carmichael wants to win down here in Florida, and he obviously is very comfortable in the sand in this type of track. He's very strong in the outdoors as well, so he's not just a Supercross racer.
Very quiet upper body through that section of jumps there. We got to look at it.
He seems to have his momentum, but notice how hard he drives. As soon as he enters the corner, even gets the bike close to going in the right direction, he is on the gas. Ricky's speed is very intense, and the way he rides right there, he reaches up, adjusting his goggles. A lot of times the riders will have tear-offs on their goggles, and they'll pull them off because they'll get sand in between them. Even though Ricky's out in front, sometimes you get sand in between your tear-off shields, and what those are is little clear pieces of plastic. When you get roosted, get dirt on them, you can pull them off and you get a clear one. You can see the little tabs hanging out there on the left side of his goggles. So you'll see the riders do that a couple times. They're not really waving at the crowd or giving any kind of peace sign. They're just clearing out their vision.
Lap time scrolling across the top. We mentioned Travis Pastrana did a 28, and it was a 28.9. Ricky Carmichael comes back with a 28.5, just to show who is fastest out here today. And
that's one of the hazards right there.
Yep.
The rider going down and getting in Ricky's way. If Ricky wasn't heading up on that, he could have very easily gotten caught up in there and put him down. But that's what happened to Travis Pastrana in the heat race. But luckily for Carmichael, it didn't happen to him here.
Mike Caton Jr. down and back up again after almost holding up the leader. And we also understand that Tim Ferry having some problems.
Well, we're 6 laps into the main, and Carmichael is already into lappers. So that's going to tell you how far up. By the end of this race, we got 14 more laps to go. He could lap up into the top 5.
Now, we mentioned about Ricky Carmichael's crash in the qualifier earlier, how he fell down, got back up, never relinquished the lead, but it may have brought, again, to his attention, the job at hand.
Here was the crash that he had earlier. He just lost the edge, and as it comes around, his wheel drops and it starts to bite. It comes around on him. Luckily, when he went down, he didn't hurt himself, because every time you go down on a motorcycle, you got to remember it's not just a small fender bender. Your body hits the ground. You're twisting your knees, you're pulling your groin, and you got your hands out to keep you from falling, trying to cushion your load. So a lot of times it can come back and bite you, but fortunate for him and for Travis in the heat races, neither of them got hurt.
Jeremy McGrath, by the way, a somewhat distant 4th place. He tried to maintain contact with the leaders and wasn't able to do so. There you can see the rest of the names scrolling across the top of the screen. And Ricky Carmichael seems to have relaxed as much as anything, and now his lap times are faster than they were early in the race. He's just settled into a rhythm, and Ricky Carmichael has this race under control for now. We emphasize for now, and right now we're going to take a break. At Daytona International Speedway, Ricky Carmichael very much in control as he works his way through traffic. He's able to pick his line pretty much anywhere he wants to go. The Havana, Florida rider on the factory Honda doing a great job, Rick.
Well, he does, but he has to be very careful of lap riders. As he goes through them, he's cutting through them at such a rate that he comes up on guys. He could be committed in the air. The next thing you know, he's right on top of the next guy, so he has to be careful.
Looking at the best battle on the racetrack, and that's Ezra Lusk catching Jeremy McGrath, and that is the race for 4th position. McGrath 4th, and there's the pass.
Yeah, Jeremy got hung out there. He went out a little bit wide. If you look at Jeremy's body position, he seems to crouch a little bit forward when his arms start to get pumped. So it looks like he's continuing. He's still having that problem of arm pumping. Unfortunately for him, he had a great run going here, but now he seems to be just fading back a little bit each lap.
And Sebastian Tortelli, the next one to come after Jeremy McGrath. There's Tortelli also coming back from injury.
Well, yeah, it's really good to see Tortelli coming back and putting together a real solid run. But this is what's happened to Jeremy throughout the season. He starts out strong, typically winning the heat races, being right there at the beginning of the main. But as the race goes on, and I'm telling you, people, it's an unbelievable. It sounds kind of simple to somebody that's never ridden arm pump, but imagine your hands, what your arm feels like when you sleep on it and it falls asleep, where you can't move your arm. You get like your arms feel numb, where you can't control them. Well, that's what happens when a rider gets arm pumping. Your hands are your connection to your motorcycle. And once you start to lose that feel and that ability to control the bike, you're going to fall back. But looking here at Sebastian Tortelli, who's now reeling in Jeremy. Jeremy just can't seem to charge because of that arm pump.
Like someone else's arm on your body out there. Yeah. And McGrath has been bothered by it. He says that his left arm is getting better, but his right arm still bothers him more than the left.
Yep, and as you seen earlier, just a minute ago, just a second ago, that blue and yellow flag, what that's for is for the lappers, so that they know the faster riders on the lead lap are coming up behind them. They call it a move over flag, but they tell you time and time again, the riders mean do not move over, hold your line.
Sebastian Tortelli, the difference in body language tells you that Tortelli's on the run and McGrath is just trying to hang on. Yeah, look at Sebastian Tortelli, very aggressive posture on his bike.
Yeah, Sebastian's a very strong and very physical rider, so we're going to be looking for him at the last half of the race, because when we are at the halfway point, so we got 10 more laps to go.
10 laps to go for Jeremy McGrath trying to hold off Sebastian Tortelli to salvage 5th position here. Lusk already went by him. Carmichael, Pastrana, and Tim Ferry have crossed the finish line. And it is Carmichael with about an 8-second lead over Pastrana. And then it is Tim Ferry about another 8 or 9 seconds back from them.
Yeah. Well, Jeremy seems to be holding on. I mean, he's definitely a champion. He's a fighter. He's not going to just roll over and give it to Tortelli, but Tortelli has slowly reeled him in.
Perhaps the pit board, as it took a while for McGrath to get around to his pit board. He saw Lust go by. That might have kind of jarred him into the reality that, hey, maybe somebody else is coming, and his pit guy said, Tortelli's on your tail.
Well, unlike now Winston Cup has kicked up its pace so hard, there's not a lot of riding, but in Supercross, there is no riding, you know. What they call about, I'm just going to ride along for a while, save my tires. In Supercross, you race every lap, every turn, every jump, and every bump. So Jeremy McGrath doesn't care who's behind him, who's in front of him. He's going to race as hard as he can. And for him to succumb to the pressure by Sebastian Tortelli tells me that he's having a serious physical problem.
10 laps remain in the Supercross here at Daytona, live on Speed. We're watching Jeremy McGrath, the 7-time Supercross champion. And I'm always reminded when I see that number 7 that there are very few, if any, champions in a major motorsport series more than 7 times. You know, you're talking about Dale Earnhardt, Richard Petty, in this case, Jeremy McGrath, Mike Eddy in ASA, 7-time champion. That seems to be that magic number.
Okay, well, here comes Tortelli. It is a magic number, but here comes Tortelli on the inside, makes the move, but then Jeremy goes a little bit of resistance, but he's just not able to physically lash back at Tortelli.
You know, almost a disheartened move there by McGrath as he thought about maybe trying to dive in there and keep that pass from happening, but it didn't happen. Sebastian Tortelli moves into 5th position here at the Daytona Supercross. Ricky Carmichael continues to lead here at Daytona International, a pretty sizable lead, and by winning this race, he will become the new points leader over David Vuillemin, who did not compete. The difference was a -20 for Carmichael coming into the race. It'll be a +5 going out of here if he holds on. The yellow flag is waving because number 199, Travis Pastrana, went down hard just past the start-finish line. You can see that Carmichael has slowed down just a little bit. His 4th lap was his fastest, his most recent 6 seconds slower than that. So Pastrana is down hard and out of the race. And it reminds us, and it should remind Ricky Carmichael, that you've got to keep your concentration all the time, constantly, because we've said it before, it's happened to them. You can fall down and your whole race changes in a heartbeat.
Yeah, it does. You can see how Carmichael's bouncing from side to side to side, constantly correcting his bike. It's never easy out there because you're trying to go as fast as you can and your bike's getting whipped all over the place. So you're using your body, you're using the power, you're using the brakes and the accelerator, trying to do everything you can to keep yourself moving forward and gaining time. But now he knows he has a big lead, so he's relaxing a little bit. That's where you see the 6 seconds off, because he's getting constant signals back and forth from his mechanic. He knows he has a big lead, no reason to take any chances. And the one other thing that he has to deal with is the shadows now. The sun's starting to go down, and we're starting to get a lot of shadows there where he goes in and out, where he can't see the ground as clear as he could before.
Ricky Carmichael leading very comfortably, while in the middle of this crowd of concerned people is Travis Pastrana. They're looking him over down there. You can see that there are some of his Sobi Suzuki team people and certainly friends and family members, all of whom, of course, are properly credentialed to get into that part of the racetrack. So it's a small crowd, but they're showing their concern, and we wish Travis the best. We don't know anything about his condition just yet. Carmichael, meanwhile, comfortably leading, coming up on the 79, Joe Olaf, whose fans we saw in the stands earlier. And Olaf is in 21st position right now and is probably a couple of laps down to Carmichael at this point.
Carmichael is just still running out in front. He's got a real comfortable lead. No reason to push it. No reason to take any chances. But one of the riders that I'm really happy for is Ezra Lusk. He went from 6th up to 3rd. This will be his first podium of the year on a Kawasaki. So our hats are off to Ezra Lusk. The race is not over yet, but still, Ezra's showing a strong ride right now.
Sebastian Tortelli showing a very strong ride. In fact, he is pulled up pretty close behind Ezra Lusk. And so we've got a little bit of a battle going on for 3rd and 4th position behind Carmichael. There it is.
Okay. Ezra Lusk, and here comes Tortelli. Tortelli's showing how strong he is, that he's back in shape, he's ready to go, and his time off was well needed and well deserved. So he's making a strong comeback.
So there's Ezra Lusk and Sebastian Tortelli coming up behind him, and Tortelli's had a good run from pretty deep in the field, as Lusk did. McGrath and some of the others, of course, Pastrana out of the race now. Jeremy McGrath going from up front and slipping back, but these are two of the guys who have come forward in this race, and now they've found each other.
And one other thing is Ricky Carmichael has just lapped 11th place with 6 laps to go. And here's the battle. The battle's for 3rd position, the 1 space on the podium. You know, everyone talks about you got to make it to the box, and this is what these guys are working for. So if either of these two make it, and there, Lusk goes off the track. 1 second, you know, a glimpse of frustration or miscalculation, and he's off the track and now lost that podium position.
And with that, Sebastian Tortelli goes into 3rd, but just for the moment, and now they have, well, they swapped positions briefly, and Ezra Lusk is fighting his way back.
Well, Ezra Lusk could not make the pass because they had yellow flags out for Travis Pastrana, so he had the run on Sebastian, but he couldn't do it because if he did, he would have been docked or penalized or fined or everything or all of the above. So it was a smart move on Ezra Lusk to hold back and take another shot at Sebastian a little bit later.
Sebastian Tortelli pretty comfortably in 3rd spot. We'll see if Ezra Lusk can get back at him. And we'll take another look at it here.
Right here you see Ezra just get the grooves, and all of a sudden he starts heading for the hay bale, and he has no choice but to go off the track. And now if you go off the track, you cannot get back on the track and advance a position, but he lost a spot to Tortelli, but still he's got him in his sights, and he can come back if he's strong.
Sebastian Tortelli firmly in 3rd. Tim Ferry, we haven't spoken much about him, is in 2nd position, and here's your leader, Ricky Carmichael. For the last time we went to commercial break, Travis Pastrana left the race. Hang on, cross your fingers, we'll be right back. The Daytona Supercross by Honda, brought to you by Joe Rocket, evolution of a champion. By Yamaha, the leader in creating a lifetime of exciting and memorable experiences. By Honda, the company that defines performance in motorcycles, ATVs, and scooters. And by Kawasaki. Kawasaki, let the good times roll. Ricky Carmichael in and out of the shadows. That doesn't seem to have bothered him. He's backed his lap times off, maybe a second a lap. You can see the average at 132. That's a 128 quick lap and a 136 this last time. So he's just easing off ever so much, Rick, knowing that if he just stays out of trouble, he's got this one in the bag.
Yeah, there's no reason for him to push it. As we saw him pushing it in the heat race and going down when he had an 11-second lead. Right now, with the shadows and the lappers and all the different things, you just want to focus on completing those lap after lap after lap.
Ricky Carmichael out in front. In 2nd position, it is Tim Ferry, and what a great story it is for the rider of the number 15 bike here, coming back in his first race in quite a while, putting on a great show and a great performance in the qualifier, and now in the main.
Yeah, Timmy was hurt at the beginning of the year, did come back, tried to run a little bit, but found out he wasn't 100% healthy, took the rest of that time off, and now is back here at Daytona finishing where you have to be very physical. It's a very physically demanding track, and he's showing his mettle. He's here in 2nd place. Unbelievable ride for Tim Ferry.
Ferry in 2nd position. Let's go downstairs right now to Greg White for a report.
Well, just a Travis Pastrana update real quick. When he crashed, he was knocked unconscious. When he came to, he's suffering from some sort of heat exhaustion. He's awake and he's talking to the doctors, but they still have him laying on the grass right now. They're going to stretch him on out of here, but he seems to be okay, and he should be okay in the long run. Brian?
All right, that's good news indeed for Travis Pastrana in a weekend that has been fraught with incidents for different riders, both in the road racing events and today in Supercross. Fortunately, all the Supercross guys, some of the crashes were actually almost comical in that they were able to get back up and not even lose their positions, or in Ricky Carmichael's case, the lead.
Well, that's one of the beauties of Supercross and motocross, is because you're in the dirt, so the small crashes typically don't hurt you. They don't feel good, but they don't injure you. Like road races, when they hit the ground, it doesn't matter. When those guys go slow, they're going 80 miles an hour. So if they just tip over in a turn, they get ground off quite a bit of skin. But in Supercross, if you have a small crash, it typically doesn't hurt you too bad.
Ricky Carmichael has been pretty error-free in this race. Got the whole shot, held off Pastrana at the very start of the race. And that was quite a contrast to the whole shot that he got in his qualifier. He had to work his way through, but it just seems like whatever problems, whatever course, whatever adversity, whatever challenge you put in front of Ricky Carmichael, he rises to it.
Well, that's the definition of a champion. You know, he's not a rider that's just going to go, well, I don't like this or I don't like that, and I'm put in this situation. In the heat race, he got a bad start. He changed whatever he did, came out in this main event to win. So he's making concessions to fix whatever is wrong. If it's his riding style, if it's his motorcycle, he's not quite dialed in, or if it's his training. Whatever it takes, Ricky Carmichael is going to do, and that's why he's the #1 rider today.
And he's also a pretty cool customer. Take a look at what he was doing while he made a pass for the lead. Tim Ferry,
well, he comes up, reaches up, grabs the tear-off, gets into the lead, actually pulls 2 tear-offs. So he's so confident that he's going to be out in front and he's not going to need him anymore. He just go ahead and yanks both of them. But unbelievable confidence that Ricky Carmichael has.
And there is the look of confidence as he is approaching the start-finish line for 1 lap to go.
You know, it's really interesting. You know, I go on the chat room at supercross.com and talk to a lot of the different people. The anticipation and people going back and forth. Some people don't like Carmichael because he's very quiet, a lot like Jeff Stanton. Very quiet, very confident. They think he's arrogant, but really he's shy. But it's really nice to see the people down here in Florida that just love him. They've watched him grow up from a little kid. He's still not a big guy now, but from a little guy racing 50s, and he's been dominant throughout his whole career. And he deserves all the accolade that he gets when he's riding because he puts everything into it. It's 100% his life.
Well, he's also been dealing with something for the first time in his career, and that is people that don't like Ricky Carmichael, because I think some of them, and he thinks so too, stems from the fact that he rode for Kawasaki all his life, but they're cheering for him here, and he's waving to them back.
Yeah, and he'll be, when he wins this race, he'll be the RC will join Mike Kudrowski and Jeff Stanton as the only rider to win 3 Daytona Supercrosses back-to-back, which I only won 2 and it wasn't back-to-back, so I know how hard of a feat that is.
Winning anything here at Daytona is no easy job, and Ricky Carmichael, a measure of just how good he is the fact that at Daytona, with all the pressure, all the hype, and we're guilty of providing some of that, of course, he's able to come through and win anyway. And as you said, 3 in a row joins a very small fraternity.
Very, very small fraternity. Didn't work for Bob Hanna, didn't work for me or Jeremy McGrath, but Mike Kudrowski and Jeff Stanton, I got to throw props to those guys. And there he's congratulating his mechanics, showing that those guys make a big difference in his racing.
With a 12-second lead, he can afford to give a few props to those that helped him get here. So Ricky Carmichael is going to make the last lap a truly triumphant one for him. And he's going to make sure that he thanks his fans and his crew and everybody else that has put him in this position.
This will tie him with Jeff Ward for all-time wins, and he's still coming.
20 wins for Ricky Carmichael in a fairly short, so far, 250 career. He's heading for the finish line and will take the checkered flag. He's done that already, and now he's taking his goggles off. Ricky Carmichael, it's official, the winner of the Daytona Supercross by Honda.
Tim Ferry coming in second with Ezra Luska and Sebastian Tortelli still going after it.
So Ricky Carmichael wins Daytona for the 3rd consecutive time. He has risen to the occasion. He has also risen to the top of the points chart, which we will show you shortly. Here are the results. Carmichael, Ferry, Lusk, Tortelli, and McGrath coming in 5th position, holding on for that. How about Nate Ramsey? What a day he had. And Damon Huffman, some of the other names here on the top 10 list. What a great run, though, for Ricky Carmichael, the new points leader, 3-time Daytona winner, and quite the performer here today. The rest of the results from the 250cc main event.